Hi there, how are you today? Today's Tuesday, May the 5th. Here we are, getting so close to the end of the story. Did you cheat and read the rest of the story to see what happened? I bet some of you have already finished it, especially those that you really like to read. I know I talked to Cameron and when we were dropping off stuff, and he says, oh, well, I read it at the beginning because Cameron didn't have anything else to read, so he read the story, but hopefully you've been going back through, and there's probably a few others of you that have done the same thing because you like reading. And the story, even though it was written a long time ago in a setting that was, a while back, is such a good story all the way through. And in this chapter, in chapter 24 that you had to read, wow, a lot of stuff really happens in this chapter. Opal and her dad go searching all over the place for Winn-Dixie in this weather, in the storm, calling Winn-Dixie one end of the area to the other. I mean, Winn-Dixie, as fast as he ran, honestly, he could be anywhere, right? And so they are on this desperate search. And finally, Dad goes, enough is enough. We can't find him. And then, Opal's like, no, Dad, you quit too soon. Just like you quit with Mom. Now, Opal, do you remember how old she was? She was 3 years old whenever her mom left. So, do you remember things at 3? You might remember a couple of memories sparked on maybe by some photos, or you may have some memories, just some flashes of things that happened. But as far as like really remembering something and really remembering a situation at 3, nah, you're kind of focused on yourself at 3 years old. And so with that comment, her dad started crying. And so we really haven't seen very much emotion with her dad. She refers to him as the preacher, and says he's always in his shell, and when anything is confrontational, he seems to kind of go back in that shell and just get back to studying and getting ready for the next sermon or whatever it is that he has to do. So with this comment, Dad breaks down and starts crying. And I don't know about you, but if one of my parents started crying when I was younger, if it lasted long, I'd start crying, and I didn't even necessarily know why they were crying. I mean, I can't handle watching my parents cry. And you might be the same way. But she sat there and, he said, I tried, we loved Winn-Dixie. We can't find him, and I tried with your mom, and at that point, Opal had repeated some words that Gloria had told her. She says, you can only love what you've got, why you've got it. So while you have that person or that animal in your life, you need to make sure that you're really taking the time to love and appreciate that person, because when they're not there, it just becomes a memory, and you can no longer give them your love and share that with them. And that's what she's talking about there. And so when Dad quit crying, she was able to ask some questions that were some real heartfelt questions. And she goes, do you think Mom will ever come home again or come back? And her dad's like, well, I want her to come back. I hope that she would come back. But no, Mom's not coming back. But he said, I am so glad that she left you with me. And at this point, Dad really shares his heart with her and opens up and says, even though it's sad, Mom's not here, she's gone, and she's not going to come back, she left the best thing with me, and that was you. And so, with this, all of a sudden, it kind of changes her perspective. It's not so much on the focus on what she doesn't have now, but now she can turn her focus to what she does have. Think about Gloria's comment right there. You can only love what you have when you have it, when it's there. Well, she's got her dad there. So by him opening up to her and sharing some of the feelings that he had, to let her see him cry and know that it really bothered him as much as it did her, they were able to draw closer together as a father and daughter in this moment in time. So, and she was satisfied with not looking for Winn-Dixie. She realized they looked everywhere that they could think of to try to find him. And so they walked back to the party at Gloria's house, and, they still called for Winn-Dixie's name all the way there. But that's an incredible moment between father and daughter right there. I hope you were able to see how cool that was. Okay, so for your work today, you're going to read chapter 25. So close to the end. On page 22, oh wait, I didn't go over your work. Never mind. Back up. Beep, beep, beep. Reverse. Go to page 22. We need to go over our questions. I am so sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself today. It says, what does Opal do when she notices Winn-Dixie is missing during the party? I hope you put B, she goes with a preacher to look for him. I also said for you to go to page 23 and summarize chapter 24. I put that Opal and Dad search for Winn-Dixie, but you could have put Dad shares his feelings about Mom being gone, or in the search for Winn-Dixie, Opal finds her dad. There's so many different things that you can say about this chapter that sparks the memory. Remember, we're summarizing a whole chapter in like 5 words. Okay? And then I ask you to go to page 40 and put in some more facts, because we really didn't put too much in about Winn-Dixie. I wanted you to think back. We'd put things like he was big, ugly, and smelly at the beginning. But we know he likes people. He seems to be obedient. He was afraid to be alone. He was gentle. He was persistent because he wanted his way. Think about the church service. We know he's afraid of thunderstorms if we didn't put that in there before it needs to be there. We know that he smiles. We know that he runs really fast. We know that he snores. He likes people. He likes peanut butter. And what does he like to lay on? The couch and the bed, you know, like most dogs. So there's a ton of things in there that we could put about Winn-Dixie. So make sure you have more facts about Winn-Dixie for me. All right, now I'm where I'm supposed to be. Okay, read chapter 25 on page 22. You're going to answer question 23. And I just closed it. Hold on. I'm so excited I can't get through. I just got to keep going. Page 22, question 3, it's a short answer. It says, after going missing, where is Winn-Dixie discovered at in chapter 25? And then go to page 20. Oops, I put the wrong page. Page 23, and do a summary of chapter 25. You know, just a few words telling you what happened in the story. Look back down at page 22, a little extra. It says, Winn-Dixie is very scared of thunderstorms. What are some of the things that scare you? We all have things that scare us at different times in our life. I remember spending the nights at my grandparents' house, and they lived by a highway, so at nighttime the lights would shine in the room, and then if there was a lamp between the window and and me, it would make that lamp like move around in a huge big shadow, and then I'd think, is that a head, and I would scare my own self. I'm like, just shut my eyes and go to sleep. So that used to be something that always scared me. And I grew up in Ohio, and we lived in what was called the Ohio Valley. So, there's big hills. We're at the foothills of the Rockies. So, there's big hills all around. And I was always afraid if a tornado got in there, it would never get out, that it would just bounce around the walls. And, that was something else that used to scare me all the time. Now in Florida, these hurricanes, when they get bad, honestly, they make me pretty nervous. And when the wind blows for like 3 or 4 days, I don't like that. And I've even had a tornado where a water spout came off, and it came off of the water onto land, and it's called a tornado. And it came right beside the house, right beside the room that we were at, trying to be safe from the tornado. And that scared me. That was really loud, and it was a baby tornado, but it was enough to make me appreciate it not being any bigger. All right, so here's your work for the day. Ooh, there you go. Now you can see it maybe. And Miss Davis will put it on also. Okay, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.